Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to talk about Crobat V, because you see, ladies and gentlemen, Crobat V is coming back. And this is wonderful, wonderful news. And I've also had a bunch of questions about this, so this seemed like a pretty good time to go and have a chat. So let's have a chat about Crobat V. Now, for those of you that don't know, Crobat V is hands down one of the very, very best cards in the entire game right now. It's got an ability that lets you play it from your hand to the bench, and if you do so, you draw until you got 6 cards in your hand. Although worth bearing in mind that like a lot of these good abilities lately, it is limited to once during your turn, regardless of how many you've actually got. So if you've got multiple Crobat Vs in hand, you can play them all, and in a deck like Eternatus, you probably will have to, because you need to fill up your bench to do extra damage, but you only get one of your Dark Asset abilities during your turn. The ability doesn't stack. Okay. And the thing is, up until now, this has been absolutely amazing, and it's only going to get better. And the reason it's going to get better is not really because of anything that Crobat itself has done, it's because Dedenne is rotating out. Dedenne's got an amazing ability that lets you discard your hand and then draw until you got 6 cards in your hand. You get a new hand. It's good. And it is a good, alternative to Crobat. So as it stands at the moment, you can use either Dedenne or Crobat or some mix of the two, and they will both do your early game basic card drawing quite nicely. The thing is, we've already had it revealed that on September the 10th, we're going to hit the rotation. And when the rotation hits, we're going to lose Dedenne. And that's not a good thing for Dedenne, and honestly for players, it's a great card. But it is a very good thing for Crobat, because basically what it means is we are all of a sudden going to have no better options. It is Crobat or bust. And that means that Crobat is getting a whole bunch better. And what we basically need to do in this video is give a whole bunch of props to the Pokemon Company for just giving us this Crobat over and over again. Now, the context for this particular video is that Gengar deck I showed you the other day. That high-class deck which is coming out over in Japan, it is bringing you both Gengar V and Gengar V Max. We've looked at them, I'll link them in the description. They're pretty cool cards. But what also has been revealed to be coming in that particular high-class deck is a reprint of Crobat V. Now, what is really cool here is that it is actually an alternate art print of Crobat V. So now we can either have different artwork, you can choose your favorite, you can mix them up. If you really like the old artwork, great news. You don't have to be annoyed at the new one, because the new one, you still got Crobat, but it's got different artwork, so you're fine. Although I actually really like the artwork on the new one. And my point here is, there's a new Crobat V with new artwork. Now, one thing that is really important to note, I mentioned the Gengar deck purely because it's the Darkness type one. It is actually coming in the Inteleon deck as well. Both of them will feature the new print of Crobat V. Now, the other thing which is really important straight off the bat, it's the first question I had, it's the first question that a bunch of you probably had. What's the regulation mark? Still D. So what that means is it's not going to keep Crobat in the format any longer. Crobat is still going to rotate out in September 2022, as we expect it to. This isn't official, but it is extremely likely that the next rotation, the September 2022 rotation, is going to be Battle Styles On, because Battle Styles On means that they will rotate exactly 4 sets, which is what Pokemon like doing. Release for a year, rotate for a year. And also it means that they'll be starting off with the first Single Strike Rapid Strike set and moving from there. So although it's not guaranteed, it is extremely likely, and that means that Crobat will be going away in a year. And that's fine, because for the next year, we're going to have Crobat V. And the thing is that Crobat V, this is not the first reprint of Crobat V. It's not even the second reprint of Crobat V. You see, if we go over to Shining Fates, we did actually get just a straight reprint of Crobat V. Exactly the same, except the set symbol in the bottom left-hand corner is different because it's from Shining Fates. It's not from Darkness Ablaze. Now, they had to reprint it in Shining Fates, and the reason is very simple. They gave us Crobat V Max. We'll get round to Crobat V Max in a little bit. But they had to give us a reprint so that they could also give us Crobat V Max. Otherwise, we would have this weird situation where the V Max would be in a set without the V, and nobody really likes that. It's always a little bit sad when that happens, so this is a good thing. And also, Shining Fates was that set that gave us all the shiny stuff. And there was the Crobat V Premium Collection. I picked one of those up at the weekend, actually. It's going to be an opening on this channel in the next couple of days. And that gets you a shiny Crobat V, a shiny Crobat V Max, and then a coin and a jumbo and some packs and all of that. Incidentally, the shiny Crobat V and V Max are not in Shining Fates. They are only in this box. So if you want to pick them up, you've got to buy this box. So we'd already had 3 prints. Now we're getting a 4th. I kind of wish the one in Shining Fates was alternate art, because it's always nice when you can play a play set of cards, all with different artwork, and technically the ones from Darkness Ablaze and Shining Fates aren't identical. They've got different set symbols, but it sure would be nice to have 4 different artworks. And what Pokemon are doing here, and this is a very deliberate choice, Pokemon are basically going, hey, we are going to make this card as easy to get as possible. Crobat V did not have to be in the Shining Fates Premium V Max collection, but the Pokemon Company International put it in there to make it nice and accessible. This reprint of Crobat V didn't have to be in these high-class V Max decks, but the Pokemon Company, not International, just the Pokemon Company, the folks who sort the game out in Japan and other related territories, they put it in here, and this is deliberate, right? They've said these VMAX decks need to be competitive. They're expecting them to be competitive and to have lots of good cards in, so they give you Crobat in there to make it a better version of what it could be, to make it a better deck, which is awesome. So now this is going to be even more available than it has been in the past, although like I've said, legality won't be affected. Now that of course leads us on to the fairly obvious question, and this is a question I've had a bunch. Alright, Wassy, how are we getting it? And although I cannot tell you for certain, we do not know, it is very likely, not guaranteed, but very likely it is going to be in the second Trainer's Toolkit. Now, the image on the screen is of the first Trainer's Toolkit, purely because we don't have an image of the second one, but we've had distributor listings, it's up for pre-order in some territories, it is an official product that has gone and been revealed by distributors, it is a thing which is definitely coming. And I've told you about this. We've covered it in some recent videos, and it's coming seemingly in August of this year, so a little way away, but not terribly far away. And amongst the contests, we are getting 2 promo cards. And when this was revealed, I told you honestly, I didn't know what those promo cards were going to be, because I didn't know what they were going to be. And I did a follow-up video where I gave you some options, but I even told you in that video, none of the options I was giving you were particularly good options. They were just the best cards that we'd seen in Japan that would fit that we didn't have. This has got to be it, right? I mean, if you look at the first Trainer's Toolkit, the promos you got were the 2 alternate art Dedenne GX, and we already mentioned Dedenne GX in this video and how good and how useful it is. And that, again, was a very deliberate move. Trainer's Toolkit is a product designed to get people into playing competitively. You get a bunch of staple cards, you get sleeves, you get a bunch of energy, etc. And then you get 2 Dedenne GX because Dedenne is awesome. So, Dedenne rotates out this year. Crobat rotates out 1 year later. We get a second Trainer's Toolkit 1 year after the first one, and instead of a promo Dedenne, we get a promo Crobat. It makes way too much sense. To be perfectly clear, this is not official. This is not guaranteed. This is not announced. But come on, follow the threads, ladies and gentlemen. This seems extremely likely. I can't say it will happen, but honestly, unless we get some other information, with the information that we currently have as it stands on the 3rd of May, I would be very surprised if we don't get the alternate art Crobat V in this box. And a few people have asked me over on Twitter, etc., at the Wassy, hey, do you think Crobat V will be in the Trainer's Toolkit? Yes, But I think I can go further and say, at this stage, in the absence of any conflicting information, and there's always stuff we don't know, I would be very surprised if it didn't come in the trainer's toolkit. I think, like I say, unless there's something we don't know, I think it's a lock. It makes way too much sense. And as a business teacher, and I've said this in videos a lot, if you want to predict companies' future behavior, the best information you've got is past behavior of that same company. And when the same company put out a product about a year before this one, with a bunch of stuff including 2 promo Dedenne, and we've now got an alternate art Crobat with nowhere else that we know is being released, that would fit as the perfect follow-up when we're getting pretty much the same set a year later, makes way too much sense. Now, there is a Crobat V Max, like I've said, it came out in Shining Face. We haven't really talked about it yet. For what it's worth, it is actually a genuinely playable card. 2 energy, 70 damage plus poison, and you switch to the bench. It's a little bit sad that we've lost Lily's Pokédoll as a wall, but don't forget, we've still got the Stage 1 Altaria, and Altaria does block Vs and GXs, so that might be something we get a little bit excited about. And I've seen lists like this doing alright in online tournaments, so if you do want to make a Crobat VMAX deck, now the VMAX has to be got either from Shining Fates or from the Shining Fates box I showed you, but at least Crobat V is going to be a lot more available. And frankly, and I know it's really trendy when you like a card game, it's really trendy to complain about the company that makes it. It happens with every card game I follow, and I follow a bunch. But honestly, how can we see this as anything other than a wonderful, wonderful thing from the folks at the Pokemon company who are just consistently making it easier and easier to get hold of these cards that are in like every deck. And Crobat V will be in basically every deck post-rotation. They're making it easier to get hold of. This is frankly wonderful. But I want to know what you think about all this, ladies and gentlemen, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.